Hi guys, I'm just here talking.
Talk normal a little bit.
All right, we're gonna do a Bet Motorsports podcast in the desert after King of the Hammers.
You're listening to the Bent Motorsports Podcast with the owner of Bent Motorsports, David Beckett, and his crew, Jacob Hunsinger, James Hernandez, and Jake Russo. Listen in as the guys discuss all things motorsports, including tech tips and current shop projects.
Welcome to the Bent Motorsports Podcast. So we're coming to you from King of the Hammers, actually at the outskirts of King of the Hammers right now because we vacated. But our week started with thinking that we were going to go out to Hammers on Thursday, which did happen, but we booked some work to do at the shop Thursday, which I won't do next year because that really made our exit time stressful.
Damper on the day.
But we did get out of there. We got the RV, and we got the Jeep loaded up on the back of the RV for Jake and myself and my son Cole. And then we had Russo and James, who were supposed to jump ahead of us with our buddy Bill and go scout out a spot.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah, because we were
There
figuring.
was a couple other things that got delayed. Not just you guys working on stuff. Well, James was working on stuff. I was at work this morning too. So
Yeah, we all had work to do, but
we're normal people, you know.
yeah. The main thing was that somebody needed to get there in daylight because we've never come to this thing, right? This is our first time here, and we don't know the routine. We don't know the lay of the land. So I wanted somebody to get there while it was daylight so that when I'm pulling in an RV, like I'm not just going into the sea of people and not knowing anything. So Bill did that. Bill was able to jump ahead for us and scout it out, and we kind of figured it out when we got there, and it seemed to work out okay. Now, we got there pretty quick, 3 hours after we left the shop, but Jake and James were a little behind.
Jake Russo, that's me. Just in case anybody needed to clarify that it was Jake Hunsinger.
Ruski, baby.
So
So what happened to you guys?
I went up Wednesday night, grabbed my sister's 4Runner because I don't have anything that goes off-road whatsoever.
The BMW is not off-road ready?
No, not this one. Wait till the next one.
Oh.
We have ideas.
We have ideas. I get, just a quick side note, I get super distracted when it comes to these kind of things. I'm all about going racing, and then I'm like, man, I want to build a race car, and then you go off-roading, you're like, I need to build an off-road car. It's just the cycle of life, I think.
We're all in the same boat, man.
So I worked Thursday morning. James started working on his truck Thursday morning. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I still have to go to the grocery store and get ice, get this, get that, get this. James is sitting there. Oh, I still have to pack. So
That's a whole nother story. I was supposed to pull my transmission on Thursday morning. I thought that I could get it out and deliver it to this guy who's going to rebuild it for me before 1 o'clock. Which, God bless my little heart, right?
You could have totally done it. And Jake and I were there to help you, but my backup camera went out on my motorhome, so I quickly ran to Camping World to install another one before we left to leave, which left you by yourself
Yeah.
having to finish the job that was never going to get done.
And it was just like Murphy's Law all the way, right?
Right.
So everything that was, I was surprised that I got as close to finished as I did.
You killed it for never pulling a tranny on that thing before. Like, you've pulled a tranny, once before?
Yeah.
On anything?
And I didn't do it the right way that time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't even pull that tranny. I just,
Oh, but we did pull it on the Celica, though.
oh yeah, we did.
So we did that. But, you got real close, and you made it in good time because from 9 to 12 is what it took you to get that to where it was at out on the ground. It wasn't on a stand or anything like that. So
Yeah, quick side note for anybody looking to pull a tranny. You have to dislocate a lot more than you think. Dislocate?
Disconnect.
There you go. That's
That's
the
okay.
word that the people
I
who
mean the same
know what they're
thing.
talking about use.
Yeah.
David disconnects differentials.
David disconnects differentials.
Heck
Oh
yeah.
I love the new game.
So we're just doing this whole word rhyme. Well, not even rhyme. It's just,
No, it's
just-
alliteration.
alliteration. It's
Yeah.
rad is what it is.
Most of them aren't radio appropriate.
Yeah, we're not going to, let's just not get into the inappropriate alliterations that I've heard all day.
Oh, they were rad, though. But the Murphy's Law thing did come into play because that 4Runner install was supposed to be a breeze,
Yeah.
and we ran into the pigtail they sent us for the Switch was for sure broken. So I did the hood part section of it, put the relay in, the fuse, wired that up, and David was in charge of doing the inside, wiring the switch in so it could dim and do all that stuff. And
which is funny
it
because
did not work.
Like, yeah, basically all morning we were all doing different things that all weren't going right.
Absolutely not.
And I think Thursday just knew that we wanted to leave by 1, and Thursday was like, no.
Right. Dude, that morning
Totally.
drug on like crazy.
I agree. Yeah, that was that. But then we got here.
Yeah, and especially, okay, so then Jake and I, sorry, long story short, Jake and I get out on the road.
You can make it a longer story than it.
Yeah, right. Ruski and I get out on the road, and by that time we kind of just accepted that we were like, we're chilling, dude. We're behind schedule. We're not gonna rush it. So we go and we get some in and out, and then we, Jake Hunsinger's like, yeah, just take the 79, man. Cruise out there, and we're having such a good drive. It just snowed out there, so like the mountaintops are capped with snow, and it's beautiful, and like we're just listening to some good old-fashioned country music, having a great day. We drop into Palm Springs. Oh, by the way, this was fun. For some reason, both of us, our ears were just blasted.
It was horrible. Like, I just got done being sick, so I think that really had something to do with it. And I'm not kidding you. It felt like somebody just put my head in a freaking press and was just pressing my head together. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's dismal.
So that was fun. But yeah, then eventually we did all get there. But when Jake and I got there, since there's no service, right?
No cell service.
You hit the dirt road and it's like nothing.
Yeah. And we the phone call dropped that we were trying to get in contact with David and Jake. And so we're just blindly driving around the King of the Hammers. The last thing on the phone, almost the last thing that we hear Dave say to us is, there's like 100,000 RVs out here. And we're just like, we get there and go, oh my God, how are we going to find them? So our strategy was to aimlessly drive around thinking David thoughts, yelling, David! Outside of the windows.
What would David do?
Yeah. Our whole thought process was, what would David do? And so even
And you found us.
Well, the worst part was that I called David, like, we're probably about an hour out, maybe a little less, but I called David like, all right, let's have them send us the location, like, so that way we're good to go. And as I'm on the phone, we got distracted talking about other things, and he's like, dude, it's crazy, like, you guys got to see this, and then call dropped. And I was like, I was supposed to get some vital information.
Well, what was
from
funny
him.
is that we got to where we were setting up camp, and it was Bill and me and Jake and Cole, and we're setting up, and we're like, look, man, Jake and James don't have a radio, that because we have little walkie-talkies, right? They don't have a radio. All cell phones are like dead; they won't work, and we're like, well.
Let's figure
this
this
one
one out.
eventually.
Yeah. Right? So, yeah, that was the first night. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and Bill slept in his car. We all crammed in the motorhome. Bill slept in his car, and he said it got down to 22. His car told him
easy.
that it was 22 degrees
Easy.
outside.
Oh, it was freezing.
We were outside till midnight, and it was cold. I mean, we may have dabbled in the whiskey a little bit, but just a little bit of wet in the beak
effective.
that went in. So the liquid courage and the beer blanket only helped so much. And then we got inside, and somebody decided to leave the upper vent in the RV open. So even though the heater was on in here,
That was open?
it just went
No, that
one was
straight
open.
out the roof.
Oh, no.
So-
Sick.
Yeah, I got up in the morning, and Jake was complaining. He's like, "Why is it so cold? You said it was going to be warm in here."
Yeah.
And Cole and I were in the back bedroom, so we had the door like shut, so the heat was staying in there. It was all
Yeah.
nice all night
Yeah.
long, and I come out here and
Like,
And I-
sweating in there.
and so was it Jake? You pointed up and go, "Well, that's open," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's." So the hot air just comes in and goes, "Oh, look," and just
And
leaves.
it's gone.
Later.
So basically, if you're planning a trip to King of the Hammers, don't do a bunch of work the day before.
And
Rush
try
yourself.
and stay in a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay grouped up.
Yeah.
Keep
And
in contact.
The best part was that, so there's 279 freeways. And so me and James are coming down the hill into Temecula, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's see which way they went. And so he's like, oh, yeah, man, we went down the 79. And I was like, cool. Yeah, we're like right there.
Okay, wait a minute now. I was in the RV with Jake when he was talking to you, and he said, get on the 79, not the first 79, the second
really say
79.
that? Yeah.
It says Winchester Road. He was very clear about it, and you're on the
I
other
was
end
like,
going,
yeah,
okay.
sure, no, that's right here. I'll
Yo,
start merging.
79? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll start merging right now. We're here.
Made it.
So we ended up going
So it'll-
through like a bunch of cool areas. I love that drive. It drops you
great.
down this really nice like rocky hill right into Palm Springs.
It's
and
beautiful.
All
It's
before
just
that,
an extra 30 minutes.
yeah. Which,
I would recommend it. It's the scenic
but
route.
honestly, if we would have stayed on the 15 going up to the 215, we probably would have hit a bunch of Temecula traffic. So I think it might have evened out just
No,
because
the
of that.
Winchester one's only like 2 miles past the one you got off at.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Well, that
Yeah.
sucks.
And then you would have caught us. And then you would have caught us, and then you would have been
Thumbs
you
up.
know,
Yeah.
right behind us and
Nice.
followed us in.
There was a distant thought in my head that we were sleeping in the Forerunner because we couldn't find you guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, let's move on. This is stupid. We're at King of the Hammers, and we're talking about how we got here.
Sorry.
We're here.
It was an adventure getting here, honestly.
It really was. It was a good time.
Yeah, so we got up in the morning, and of course, Ultra 4 races today, and they started at 8 a.m. I think first car off the line at 8 a.m. So I think we got up at 7-ish, but then by the time we actually got our act together and got out, it was already past 8. But it doesn't matter. We weren't really worried about seeing that. So we just basically went to the first place that we had been watching all night before, which was Chocolate Thunder. So we drove up to Chocolate Thunder and watched the guys coming down that, which was pretty rad.
In-
That was
Insane.
legit.
And all night, I mean, from the time you guys, I'm sure, got here till whatever time we went to bed, which is a little past midnight, there was people up there all
They were
night.
getting it all night because you can run the course at night. Like, which
Yeah,
is
is
cool.
that the case? They just whatever, go
I
go
think
have
so.
some fun,
I
right?
think so.
As long as you got all your carnage off by morning.
Yeah.
I was so excited all night waiting to see these cars because, I don't know, Ultra 4 is just kind of the coolest new thing that's
Right.
happened in off-road racing in probably like the last 10 years, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And it's just so different, and all the cars are built differently. There's kind of an idea that this is all formed around, but it's not even just the way that the suspension setups are, but the shapes.
The
You can
overall
tell.
look of the vehicle
Is just
different.
one of them's completely different from the other. And some people are going IFS, and some people are going solid axle, but none of that mattered when we were up on top of the hill. Once we got there, we got out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
In the distance, all you heard was,
Yeah.
They were getting it, and like, you know what? Those guys do not lift. They are the epitome of just getting it the whole entire
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah,
that
and-
was
and
rad.
I think it's interesting that when James brought that up, it's neat to be able to see the beginning of a race series. And I know it's been around for a few years, but this really is the beginning of this race series, right?
and
I
it's
don't
Look at
think
when-
it's not going away.
Look at when
anytime
NASCAR
soon.
Absolutely not.
began, right? People were showing up, they were running convertibles, some of them were running regular cars, right? I mean, it was evolving. Well, now they've figured out the exact perfect formula, and you've got 40 of the exact same thing on the track doing the exact same thing, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, this Ultra 4 is still in the beginning, so it's
relatively, right?
relatively in the beginning. So it's people are still trying to figure out what really is the best setup.
That's
right?
a great part about it, too, is like Ultra 4, I think we read, is unlimited except for four-wheel drive.
yeah, it's got to be
You
four-wheel
have
drive.
to have four-wheel drive. Otherwise, go ham.
Well, yeah.
And-
Well, think about it. You couldn't do what they're doing in two-wheel drive.
No.
Well, no, you couldn't, but,
But
you
that,
know,
it's cool that that's the only stipulation that they have. You
Yeah,
know?
it's rad.
And also,
it's super rad.
I also think, I mean, that also covers the parameters of you can't run a 6x6. You can't run an 8x8.
Good call. Good
So
call.
they're like,
Oh,
you
that's
just gotta
true. I
have.
never even thought about
No,
that.
I did because I said, yeah, but what if you just had a high-speed tank?
Yeah,
And you
tank
just-
treads. Tank treads. Tank treads.
Yeah, just rack it up
Just
there, dude.
Yeah, good call.
mowing
Good call.
rocks.
But think of it this way too: is that you're never gonna have a perfect car because with how grueling this whole series is, and like how grueling the track is, no matter what you do, you're gonna break something.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
You know
and how
what I mean?
about those guys that were, this morning when they were coming down, when we finally made it over to Jackhammer, I think.
Yeah.
Right? The second place we went?
Yeah.
There was, the guys will come around the corner and they're coming down Jackhammer and they'd hit a rock and it'd just make this horrible
Oh, yeah.
metal clang that would echo through the valley. And I'm thinking, if that was my Jeep,
I would
my
be
day would be
so-
over.
Frame
Oh,
bent.
Whatever,
Mhm.
whatever made that noise is incinerated.
And your Jeep is not a bad Jeep. It's
No,
a
it's no
built
joke.
Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were just the stuff they were hitting. I mean, they would hit stuff, and literally the rock they hit would explode into pieces, and you're like, the vehicles are stronger than the rocks.
It's so
they're
great.
bashing.
It's so
And
great.
guess what? That makes all new obstacles for the next guy that
right.
comes through there. You know,
Which is because then they're coming down. Was that the first? Wait, was that Jackhammer the second place where we got to cross over the
second
tracks?
place.
Yeah, these dudes are coming in down the mountain, and again, you just hear it's so ominous and rad. It's just the gurgling of like
a 7.12 liter.
just like straight piped, and it comes through, and they're just eating rocks alive and bouncing around, and they're just getting after it. And we got to see a guy pass another guy, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because I don't know, usually they're super far apart, and I went, oh my gosh, look, racing. But
Yeah.
on the rocks.
Yeah.
And I went, I just witnessed a slow speed pass.
Right. Yeah, the slowest pass you've ever seen. They were going like 10, maybe.
And
But
then-
yeah, this is
It's
OJ
insane,
racing, man. This
though.
is a slow speed chase.
So then they get up and around, and they hit the checkpoint, and then all in the same pan of view that you have, these dudes are just hammered down, spinning tire up this huge sand, like, switchback hill.
Which is rad.
It was
Yeah.
so cool.
Did you remember the one coming out of Chocolate Thunder? They got to the bottom of Chocolate Thunder, hit their checkpoint, and they had to go straight back up this,
It was
this
a
sandy hill.
huge hill.
And I mean, there was a line too. There was a specific spot you had to go to make it because another guy came in really hot and went wide, and he almost got stuck.
Yeah.
And then had to go up it. We're talking cars. What do these things have horsepower wise?
I would guess in the 700 to 900 horsepower
Right?
range.
It's like
right?
700
If not
900
more,
horsepower.
dude. If not
So
more.
they're these big, big, huge tires, and he got a little bit off the line, and he wasn't going to make it, right? But then he fishtailed it back in, and you're looking at that hill, and you're like, okay, that's like there's no rocks on this hill, but just the sheer verticalness of it.
It was
Yeah.
very Formula Off-Road reminiscent. Especially I saw a couple of guys like tracking sideways, and then they'd like scoot back in. And I'm like, ooh, yeah. Formula Off-Road is for men.
I like
Every
this-
time I see it.
I like the fact that you have a car, it's the size of like a dune buggy or a Toyota Tacoma, but it's moving a boulder that's the same size of it. Like the whole boulder rolls over, and you just keeps going. Like that
Yeah.
boulder must
Yeah.
weigh like 12,000 pounds, and you just smacked into it and moved it out of the way. Like
Solid
holy
granite.
Just
wow.
move that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking earlier too about July. We're going to be going to do the Rubicon, and we're looking at these vehicles going. The Rubicon Trail for these vehicles would just be like a total remedial joke.
Oh yeah.
Like super joke. Like it's a total sightseeing drive.
Yeah, you
for
might
them.
as well just get on a tour bus and
Cruising
go
down.
across the
Right, yeah.
United
Yeah.
States.
So wait, so then Jackhammer. Oh, by the way, big ups to Cole because he basically navved all day. He was on nav all day. He was going, we're going to Backdoor. We're going to Jackhammer. We're going
That's
to
true.
We're going to Chocolate Thunder.
Killed
we're
it.
going.
That's true.
Yeah.
My 13-year-old son basically gave us our schedule for the day. Told us where we needed to be at what time, and he was right. We saw action every time we went to those places.
It worked out great,
What was the last place we went?
The last place we went was Backdoor.
Backdoor.
Oh yeah,
which was cool.
We saw a car flip.
Yeah. So this was pretty much at the end, right? They already had like first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place finishers, I think. But there's still vehicles out on the course because the course stays open from 8 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night, so that you can, if you want to finish, you can finish, right? And one guy was going up Backdoor and got a little sideways and flipped it on its side. Then another guy came up, and then didn't the two guys who flipped.
Oh, they were nice. They actually helped winch. They ran the winch lead, and then they co-drove like outside, picked the line for them, and helped these other guys come up the hill while like their rig is just freshly being flipped back on its
Waiting
back
for all
on
the
its
oil
tires.
to go back into the pan.
Yeah, but I mean it's cool
Super
just
cool.
to see a team like that. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, we're down right now. We're waiting, so we'll help you out. Like you don't even have to get out of the car.
Yeah,
we'll
I
do
kind
it.
of like that. Even in off-road racing, the off-road family, the camaraderie is always there, which is super rad to watch.
Yeah, that was cool when the guy stalled at the checkpoint, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, that
and
too.
then the guy that he passed this guy, and the guy that he passed, and I'm not sure if this is a rule or something, but he just it was a nice nerf. It wasn't a mean nerf.
Yeah, and I think what happened was
I think he
they
couldn't
stopped.
get out of gear.
Yeah,
or
he stopped
something.
at the checkpoint, right? Because they're coming down those hills in their low gear, right? And then they get up to the checkpoint, and then he stopped. He got his little sticker. Well, he couldn't get it into high gear or whatever he needed to get it going. So instead of the guy behind him that he just passed, just going around him and being, hey, I'm racing. Too bad, sucks for you. He bumped him a little so it would like rock the vehicle enough to get it into the gear he needed.
And it worked.
And it worked, and they both took off, and they're racing again. It's like, that's
And
rad, man.
they were pedal to the metal at that
Yeah,
point
they
too.
were
It
pedal
was
to the
cool.
metal. That's super rad. You
And
know?
by that time, I think there was a third car that came up behind them, and so all three of them were just
Oh, just straight
ripping
up
up
the
the
hill.
hill.
the hill.
Rad.
So
Yeah, so definitely carnage, definitely good time. Just
And
good
then-
old-fashioned American hot rod, blood and gasoline
Just
all
fun
over the
stuff.
place.
And then what about Hammertown? I mean, you go to this place.
Oh my God, it's huge.
This lake bed is absolute. Okay, just so you know, we're coming to you from outside of Hammertown. So we decided today, executive
Where
decision,
it's safe.
that we were going to pack up the motorhome, vacate Hammertown, and go about 2 miles up the road and stay in a undisclosed location so that we could spend the night, one more night, and then leave tomorrow to head home. Because we've heard that leaving Hammertown on Saturday is the road that leads you in, the dirt road from the main highway into the dry lake bed, is a mile and a half
Yeah,
or 2
probably
miles
that.
long
Uh-huh.
at the most, and it takes about 5 hours of sitting in a single row of
Which
traffic
sounds like a special kind of hell.
because
Yeah.
there's only one way in and out for those RVs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, look, dude, we're going to bounce and go up the road a little bit, do our podcast, make a new campfire,
Yeah.
so we got a forward base here now so we don't get stuck in that tomorrow. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing how many
Operation Meth Rock.
people get put onto that.
Operation Crack Rock Bluff.
We're at Crack Rock Bluff right now. A little sketchy.
It's nice. No, I like it.
It's a cool spot.
Okay, so one of my favorite things is everybody's bringing their rigs out here to tool around in, right?
Mhm.
Which is awesome because, I mean, Jake and I were talking about it earlier. I mean, I've been to so many trade shows and car shows and everything, and you're kind of just, after a certain while, you're like, these cool cars, great that you guys built them, big ups to the builders and all this stuff.
They're show cars.
But it's just a show, man. And so I feel like the cool thing about King of the Hammers is if you have a pre-runner or a crawler, if you have a crawler, you can crawl up beside the freaking racetrack to a dope spot to watch.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, cool, I have a crawler. I get to use it to watch this awesome race. If you have a pre-runner, I would imagine if I had a pre-runner, I'd be zipping from spot to spot.
Oh,
just
yeah.
eating desert, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's got their and there were so many cool rigs out there today.
So many.
Things you don't see on a day-to-day basis. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
where we all work and live in San Diego, it's kind of a central hub for a big industrial area. I mean, there's a ton of big name shops that are around us, and we do see a lot of cool stuff rolling in and out of not only the shops that we work at, but other just rolling around on the streets, really. And you come out to this, and you just see things of just a different nature. You know what I mean? It's just surreal. And when you take a step back and think about it and go, well, there's like 50,000 RVs out here, and every single one of those is packed to the gills with quads or a pre-runner or some crawler rig, and how much money each and every person devotes to each individual rig. It's just mind-boggling.
There's so much money out here.
Highlights top rigs, everybody.
Okay, I
Ooh.
remembered I remembered the one I liked the best, and it was when we were leaving Jackhammer, and we were waiting to cross the road because you have to. This one section we sat in, you had to cross in front of the checkpoint, as a pedestrian. But there was this, it looked like an Ultra 4, like race car.
Oh, the brand
The
new one.
brand new one.
Never.
The thing,
There was
That's
I
what me and
swear to
Jake were
God,
saying,
there was
too.
not even
Yeah.
a speck of dust on that thing.
Yeah.
And that thing looked, everything on that thing was absolutely high end.
Oh
Perfect,
yeah.
too.
The whole
That thing
chassis
was
was TIG
absolute-
welded, which
yeah,
was
the-
rad.
The thing was gorgeous, and it's just sitting there. I'm like, why is this guy not entered in this race? Why is he a spectator? That thing is legit.
That's what me and Jake were saying. We were basically had the idea that this guy probably didn't get this thing fully dialed in time, but he still brought it out there to do like little shakedown runs of it, you know? But it
It
made
was
sense. I
rad.
mean, that thing was literally fresh off the fresh
Dude,
off
there
the
wasn't even
lot,
a
I guess you
scratch
could
on
say.
one of the beadlocks. Like, I mean, the
Right?
thing
No.
was so
Nothing.
brand new. And I'm not like bagging on the guy for it. Like, it's not like he babied the thing. It clearly was just brand new, and he was out. And maybe he's going to be here, Saturday, tomorrow, all
Yeah.
day, running it, going up and seeing if he
Yeah.
can do it. I don't know, but that thing was cherry. And just before that, I saw another one I liked, that FJ Cruiser.
That was cool.
Yeah.
What year was that one? Probably.
That's like what a 07 or
2008,
something.
something
Yeah.
like that.
whatever the newer one was. The only thing that was FJ was the windshield cowl
Uh-huh.
and the hood.
Yeah, that's it.
and the
man.
rockers.
Yeah,
the
and
rocker.
the front grill.
But it was badass, man. And that thing, did you see the dash? The dash was done
Yeah.
very well. The electronics were done like, wow, they're sand sealed, and everything was square. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a bunch of weird switches just thrown together.
Yeah.
It was uniform.
super cool.
Sick.
That thing had a
stuff.
gang of money into it. And I mean, you look under it too.
I don't even
and
know
it
what
was-
those diffs were. I don't even know the brand of those diffs.
Yeah.
I've seen them before.
Dynatrack or something like
Somebody
that.
makes those.
But you look
Yeah.
under it, and I mean, it was just like a perfectly stainless steel, all TIG welded exhaust.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it was
And when
cool.
you looked at it further, I mean, you walk up the hill, and there's so many rigs like parked on different areas. And you're just walking up it and you see it and you're like, wow, dude, this thing's gnarly. And he had it perfectly perched up on a rock, you know?
Well, the cool thing about the FJ too, I mean, the other one, the first one I saw, which was brand new, this FJ was well used.
Well used.
Well used. I mean, it was beat.
Yeah.
But you can look at it and say, whoever built this built a rad vehicle, and they use it, and they
That's
use
awesome.
it.
Yep.
They use it heavy.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what's cool to see is you pass by things like that and don't even realize it. I mean, it's just like SEMA where all of a sudden it's like, oh man, you start taking a closer look and you're like, oh, this was an FJ. And now
Yeah.
basically the whole back half from the windshield back was cut off.
Imagine imagine that car's life. The guy got talked into going out to the desert one day in his brand new FJ,
Yep.
and he like clipped a rock, bing, and put a little dent in the quarter, and it was like, well, time to sawzall it up. We gotta make a
Yeah,
rock
let's
crawler.
do it. Keep going.
Yeah, just
Might
bit
as
by
well.
bit, little by little, it just became less and less of an FJ, and now it's just a full-blown cage,
Yeah.
four-linked or tri-linked, just
What'd you find,
everything.
James? Do you have a favorite, James?
Oh, we saw
yeah.
a bunch of awesome ones. First of all, honorable mention to the guy with an 18-wheeler rig.
Oh yeah, you did Pete.
Oh,
yeah.
that-
It was the baddest Pete with like a little,
Carrying a fifth wheel, right?
Yeah.
And
So
there
he
was
had-
there's a really small sticker on the cab that said, "Not for hire, RV use only." This guy exclusively towed his giant fifth wheel with this 18, with just these stacks and oh man, it was
rad.
All the
so
way out in the
rad.
middle of the lake bed,
Yeah.
too.
Uh-huh.
He
Yeah.
just, I know, right? So he just motored that thing out there.
Yeah.
I was all about it.
it looked like it was dropped a little bit,
Oh, yeah,
maybe.
dude, it was a lowrider. It
And
was sick.
he had
Super
these
cool.
big old like 8-inch Dynaflex stacks coming up the side of it that's stuck up like 5 feet from the cab,
Yeah.
and just super clean truck. And it's just so rad that somebody would use that. Like, no, I'm not gonna get an F-150 or an F-250, not even a mega cab. Like, I'm going straight to the Peterbilt.
Yeah. I bet it tows like a
This guy's a
dream.
hero.
yeah,
yeah,
that
super
was
fun
pretty
guy.
rad.
That really got me going. I thought that was probably one of the coolest tow rigs for sure.
But yeah, overall, I was just really stoked on the fact that it was, I mean, as a spectator, you felt like you were a part of it too, because you're four-wheeling to watch it. You're four-wheeling to get into good spots. People are just eating up desert with pre-runners. Everybody's just bropping all over the place.
Yep.
Everybody's got a smile on their face. Like, I didn't see one unhappy person today.
No.
And so, as far as coming out here, and I mean, I would understand why, if you could hang out here for a week, do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
recommend it.
Somebody said somewhere in the realm of 200,000 people were out here, and I have
I wouldn't
no
doubt it.
doubt that he was even more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
And if you don't have something, your Hyundai or your Kia
that
will
was
make
the
it
best
all the way to the
part.
lake bed. I mean, we saw a Dodge
Challenger.
at backdoor.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That was rad.
but they have Yamaha, Polaris, and Can-Am are all here renting out UTVs. So you can just go rent one.
You're probably
Drive
going
it
to drop
around.
a couple grand doing that, but why not? You
For
know?
a week, I bet.
Well,
But
yeah.
for a
But I mean, just
day?
rent it for the day
Yeah.
or whatever, man. I mean, you just come out here for the day and do it.
And
Yeah.
even that, most of the spots were pretty accessible with a normal car. With
I would
just
agree.
a little bit of ground clearance.
For
You'll
sure.
have to go a little bit slow, but you can get to the spots to watch the race
Absolutely.
and still have a good time. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna talk crap real quick.
Get it?
Who, in their right mind, in the middle of Hammertown, in the venue area, right, with all of the vendors and stuff. Sorry,
Right.
the vendor area. There's a giant LED screen, and there's the dudes narrating it. But apparently, people will go out there. There's a lot of people there too, so lots of people are going to be like, "Hey, shut up, kid."
Yeah.
There are people who show up, drive all the way here, and then just sit in the middle of the vendor area and watch the giant LED screen and have the guys narrate it. And I was like, wait,
But there's a
But
live
it's right
feed.
there. You could just walk over there and see it.
yeah, why don't you just go watch the thing?
I agree.
don't
I
know.
thought it was a little weird.
Those are
I
the
th-
people in the Hyundais.
It was a little weird to see a whole bunch of people with their folding chairs hanging out there watching it. And you could tell they'd been there all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know
they
what
were
was
sunburnt, and you could tell, like, it was just such a bizarre thing. I think me and Dave even called it out. We go, look, those people have been camped out here all day, and I'm sure they're just sitting back, drinking some beer, like,
Like, I don't
watching
know.
this
That's
event.
cool, and you get to see the cars, I guess, which is neat. But you come out here, I want to see those things, eat some rocks up and stuff.
Yeah,
thought it was
we
odd.
did, dude. It was fun.
I thought that was odd. Also, again, more trash talk. Razors are the worst. Everybody with the razor sucks. No, I only say that because of what I've already said about them, and then also today they were the bane of our existence trying to get around in the Forerunner.
Oh, the first area we went to on Chocolate Thunder.
All the areas, even in the like the paddock and whatever, driving around because they're so small and zippy.
Dude, they're like a bee that you're like swatting at and you can't get it away. You're like, where's it keep coming from?
They just
Yeah,
they just
away.
all zoom up and pull up and they're like meow 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 and they
They
cut
pull up
in.
in squads,
and I'm
too.
like,
There's not just one of them.
I
There's
can't
4,
do it.
5,
I'm so
7,
angry
8.
about it. Like
So,
go back.
Back to the moral of the story. What was your favorite vehicle?
Oh, mine was on the way out. We saw a dent side Ford that was fully built. And then one of the neat thing that I saw about it, because I've seen some pretty cool dent side Ford builds, right? But they actually, it already had, the standard bed on it. What is it, 6.5 feet or something?
Something like that.
But the whole bed was pulled up about a foot. So it took about a foot off the rear. And then the flares started like under the extra cab
It was
window.
like mid-window of the extra cab.
It was so cool looking. I was just enamored. I went, oh my gosh, what a small detail that makes that thing. And I'm not sure if they did it to improve the wheelbase or because they just wanted like less rear of the truck bed hanging out or whatever. But it looked great. It looked like it was an operator, and it was of course just white with gray wheels, which is freaking classic.
Mm-hmm.
But that
That was
dude,
pretty sick.
I gave him a nod. Shot.
That was the one that was on the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
wish
that
I would have
was
seen
badass.
that thing in action.
Yeah, I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to
that
see
would
that
have been
thing.
cool to see that thing going.
And then, of course, actually, there was another one that I really loved. It was just, not too crazy, but it was a 4-door GMC, like 2500 or something that just looked like it handled and just looked like a big old luxury pre-runner.
Yeah,
It's
it definitely
better.
was on the luxury pre-runner scale.
It was-
That thing was
What, like
dialed
an
into the
04 or
nines.
whatever?
Yeah, it was like an 06, 07.
Is that a GMT 800?
I don't know. It was like the cat eye Chevy.
Yeah, it was
Front
great.
end.
I loved it. It really made me want a giant luxury pre-runner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
But-
mean, just real nice lights. I mean, everything just looked good. Like the stance of the truck looked good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Jake Russo's favorite was, I don't know, maybe the 25 different Tahoe or Tahoe variants
Yeah,
that
I
he
saw
saw
a lot
today.
of them today.
Every time he was like, oh, check out the Tahoe, so sick. Dude, you guys see that Tahoe?
Yeah, no, I'm like really, really on the fence of getting a 2-door Tahoe one of these days. And then I come out here and I just see like 50 of them, and one of them was even the color of my old Tahoe, and I was like, that's the exact one right there. Like, I need that one.
Right?
Did you guys end up making it over to the Jeep hospitality tent to see Jake Russo?
I
Was,
was
with
there
me.
with you guys,
We
yeah.
saw the Gladiator parked out front that they had
I
driven.
heard it was hammered.
It
The
was
thing
hammered. Dude.
was
It was
beat.
beat. And I know, and I've been. I mean, I don't have a lot of reception out here, but we've been watching, Instagram before we came out, and people are giving a lot of grief to the Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Got stuck out there, and everybody's like, had to be winched through, and I get it. It's a huge wheelbase vehicle on 35s, trying to do the King of the Hammers, right?
But that's what it is.
They after their first lap, which I don't know if Robbie Gordon was doing the first
Yeah, it was
lap.
Robbie Gordon, dude.
So he came in and the lockers broke. I don't know if they're e-lockers or what, but they broke. So when the next guy went out and then had to be dragged through and pushed through, it was because the lockers were toast.
That's rough.
So these guys did a lap with lockers, then another lap without them, and you know what? I just want to give Jeep credit where credit's due. At least they did it.
Yeah.
I didn't
No
see
one else
Toyota
did.
come out here and bring a brand new TRD and throw it in there. I didn't see Ford show up with a Raptor and throw it in there.
I don't think crawl control is going to help you get up Chocolate Thunder.
No.
You have to push too many buttons.
Yeah.
So good or bad, whatever you think of the Gladiator and Jeep, I give them props for showing up and just throwing one out there and letting it happen.
Yep.
Letting it happen,
Respect.
right? Well, you got to
Respect,
give them some
yeah.
respect.
Totally.
I mean, that's a small drop in the bucket for him, really. You know.
Yeah. I'm just glad they did it. Whatever, man. It's cool. Do it.
Yeah.
Throw it out
Yeah.
there.
It was rad. I mean, it was cool to see. It looked cool, you know.
Well, guess
So-
what? That Gladiator just got publicized like crazy.
Oh, for
'Cause
sure.
Everybody, no matter if it was good or bad, they just got a glimpse of the Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then,
You know?
and then we got some inside info on the lockers going out, so that's why it's,
Yeah.
because you'll see the video of them having to get winched through, but
Gladiator glimpses get good.
Gladiator glimpse is good.
Okay, so IFS versus solid axle. What'd you guys see?
You always do this to me. I always get left out of the favorite freaking rig conversation.
got him.
Hey, Jake, what was your favorite rig?
Hey, Jake.
None of them. I hate.
Anyways, so IFS or solid axle?
That's the funny thing is we saw two Explorers. One of them was
Yeah.
just super, super cool with a what long travel kit on it?
BTF. So it was a BTF plus 4 kit, and it was enough to where this was an Explorer that had fiberglass fenders, but listen to this. He painted them to match the rest of the car.
Which is bizarre.
He didn't leave them white.
Weird.
Insane.
How funny is that though?
Right?
Like,
But he went this was a really nice truck.
Yeah.
It was the 4-door. He had the bedsides, the extended bedsides or flared bedsides that go up to the doors. Ford 9-inch on the rear, shocks through the bed, F62 Devers or whatever they are. He got the BTF plus 4 kit, and then also he bought the RCV axles. This guy dropped the $2,300 or whatever it is to maintain 4-wheel drive on this thing.
Now, this is the red one we're talking about,
Yeah, the
right?
red
Yeah.
one.
Did you see the one when we were leaving Jackhammer? What was that one? Because that
The-
one
the black
sounded
one?
and looked way better to me. What was
that one was cammed like nobody's
The
business.
black one was cammed, and it was dope because it was still leaf spring rear, but that was solid axle up front, but it
Yeah.
still kept the pre-runner look. So he had radius
Yeah.
arms on it.
Yeah, I like
We're
that
going there, and it also had I think it had Dana 44 in the front. But that was a dope rig.
one.
That
I
thing
like
was
that one better.
super
The red
clean.
one was cleaner and more refined and finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that other one just seemed like more of a
that thing
business.
could crawl some
That
stuff.
thing was business.
The other one, there was a very fine line, not a fine line, but there was just a very distinctive difference. Like the red one was super oriented to just eating up some desert miles, and
Yeah.
the other one was just eating some rocks, and that
Heck
was
yeah.
it. You know,
But they were rad. So I was definitely a fan of those. Or, my gosh, there's no. So first gen Cummins Dodge, right? So they were made from '89 to '93, I think it was. That's that old body style you see, like the first Cummins motor that they put in the 6BT and the Dodges. Well, they never made those in a quad cab. They were an extended cab, but not the quad cab. But Dodge did make that body style in a quad cab, and then these people would throw the 6BTs in them, So you had, the mega cab back in the day. Some guy had a really, really clean, well-built one, and he has towed his fifth wheel with it, and that thing was just badass.
it was super, super.
Speaking
clean.
of Dodges, Cole has motioned to me that to bring up his favorite. He told me his favorite was the when we were at backdoor at the end.
Mhm.
There was that Dodge 5500,
that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
the
was
RV
massive.
conversion.
That was sick.
Yeah,
Oh, that thing was a monster.
That
Yeah.
thing had like 37s on it.
37 by like 20-inch
Oh, they were
wide.
real wide. This was like
Dude,
this is
it
like an
literally-
Arctic expedition vehicle. Like
yeah,
this
the thing was
rad.
super cool RV. It was a nice conversion. It would looked like it was done real well.
Ooh, it looked awesome.
You know what the funniest part of it was? The people
No.
that were driving it just looked like normal freaking
Oh, yeah.
people. Like they didn't look
They
like
were
some
just out there having
hippies.
a
Or,
spot
you know
of
what I mean?
tea.
Do you want to go out to
Yeah.
the King of the Hammers, Dolores? We have a free weekend. Like they were
No,
cool.
dude, they're like climbing up top. I think the wife was just sipping on some wine. Like husband's probably drinking a freaking Coors Light, just like everybody else here.
Odie.
And no, dude, they were just having a good time, and they left. And I think at the time we're all taking video of something, and she's just waving like, "Yeah, have a good one." You know, we're just in this like $200,000 rig, if not more.
Yeah, that thing was cool though.
That thing was way cool.
It looked like it could survive a freaking
Oh yeah,
war.
back to your thing though. IFS versus solid axle.
Yeah. I'm thinking solid axle.
Well, who won?
I'm not going to lie. Oh, who did win?
Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I could tell you the guy who
You know
won.
why we don't know? Because we didn't sit in our lawn chair in front of this big screen the whole day.
Yeah,
We're
sorry.
out doing
Damn,
stuff.
Daniel.
Sorry, guys. We're outdated.
Yeah.
I don't
sorry.
know.
We like visual, so they have this thing called
Also,
it's not VR. What's that other thing?
AR.
AR.
Actual reality.
Actual reality. I'm into that.
So if we actually had cell phone coverage right here, we could look up and see who won, but we don't even have that right out now. I got no coverage.
I think as far as how I saw the cars handling, and it is to say that, the drivers are the ones doing the most work, or they're the ones responsible for how they handle, rather. But I think solid axles were doing better. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. Running down those rocks, that looked pretty plush in the IFS. And plus, you got RCV axles that are like 3 inches in diameter, 300M, like badass axles. And you got the Dynatrack 60 or whatever it is. It's that Dana 60 center section, the IFS diff.
Yeah.
What are you going to break? Nothing.
Your body, your spine, maybe.
It's IFS, man. Rides like a Cadillac.
Yeah, it's Gucci. Yeah, you could totally. Those guys were definitely riding like Cadillacs in there.
Yeah, it was super
Yeah.
Cadillac.
They clapped out like 40-year-old Cadillacs.
I think the only way we're going to be able to solve this question is to actually go try to
Build a
pour
Hammers rig?
ourselves into one and the other, each
Oh,
one.
darn.
Can you please give us a ride in this so I can make a personal decision?
An informed decision.
But when I say me, you have to say me and three other of my friends.
Yeah, we all need a lap. We all need a lap.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought my eye said to me that the guys in the solid axles were getting after it harder. I think they were just slamming it more.
Well, there's less things to break, right?
Yeah, they were tougher, and so they could push it harder. At the same time, maybe that's the equivalent to when somebody's going around a track, breaking the rear end loose. I'm like, that guy's obviously going faster. And then you go, no, the guy who's going super smooth
Is there less things to break, though?
That's true. I don't know. Well,
I don't think
Less
there is.
exposed things to break,
Let's
I think.
talk about it.
Let's give him something
To talk about. Let's talk about.
They really don't want to hear us sing.
no, they don't want to hear us sing.
I don't
No.
think there is less moving parts. If you break it down, compared to like control arms, you got 4 control arms, usually in a Panhard bar, depending on if it's triangulated. Well, you have an upper and lower control arm and an IFS kit, so there's 4 there, so that's even. The only thing that would be different is, well, you know,
Hydrosteer.
there's one more set of CVs technically, or not necessarily CVs, depending on who you're using, but U joints. You know,
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because there's inners and outers versus just the outers.
Okay, but that's just the structural integrity of a giant, just a big bar of steel that houses the axles should be able to plow things harder than, I don't know, you're triangulated when you have.
I don't know. Are Curry's really that good? Like, are Curry's really that badass of an axle?
Yeah. Yeah, they
No,
are.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
are.
it's not like
mean,
every single
yeah.
solid axle rig was running a Curry axle, so you know.
No, but
No, I think they actually nearly
Are,
every single
yeah.
one was.
Yeah, probably.
It was rad. Yeah, Curry kills it.
yeah, they're kind of the best.
And if you to give you some like I don't know, a reference, so this Defender that we're building has Curry axles on it, and the King
That
of
guy
the
will
Hammers
never
rigs
touch a single thing like
have
this.
Curry axles on them. So
You don't know. Maybe the guy is
Yeah.
a total.
Maybe he's trying to build an Ultra 4 car out of a Land Cruiser. You never know.
That'd be kind of bad, eh?
Or Land
yeah,
Rover.
let's see how those aluminum sheets
Oh,
hold up.
you know what? I was
Ugh.
bummed that we missed the. What'd you say? The 4200, 4300 class.
Was that yesterday?
We literally, me and David, like
I know,
studied the classes.
we
right
study the
before.
classes. I think it goes 44, 45, 46, 47, 48.
So 47's the spec class, right? So those are the JK type ones. I think so there's a class that's a spec class. There's a class that's a the legacy class,
Right.
which was 48, I think.
Just Subarus.
I think
Cross-checks,
46 and
if only.
45. So 45 was like the stock one, you know? Like this was, you had to have a stock frame, and I mean, max was 35s, single shock per side. I think that's 45. 40, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
What were you saying that you were sad you missed?
No, because I felt like that was more the sportsman's class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And-
that you have 44, which is the unlimited. Then you have 45, which is like the modified class, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the next, not quite Ultra 4, right? Not quite class 44. And then as you went up 46, 47, 48, 49,
what? I think
it got
you're right.
more and more stock as the number gets higher.
So, just to give some bit of perspective, one of those classes, I don't know which one it was, but there was 29 vehicles that qualified to race yesterday,
Yeah.
and 7 of them finished.
Nice.
Like,
That's
How about-
that's awesome.
But how
7.
about the stock class? So, which was 4,600, I believe. That class was won by, if I heard correctly, an old Toyota pickup that was leaf sprung.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the one that
No
the one that
way.
beat the Gladiator, right? Same
Yeah.
class as the Gladiator. Yeah.
Leaf sprung Toyota.
Leaf sprung Toyotas for the win.
Yep.
For the win.
literally for the win.
And that thing was beat. Like it had like a cab
Hammer.
and a hood.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it was just gone, broken.
Is that the one that we saw that was today that was absolutely blasted?
It was tan.
I think we
Oh, the
saw
white
it.
one?
But no, it had these
The
radius.
bed
so the
sides
rear,
were just dented
It was
in like crazy.
absolutely
the
destroyed.
bed cage was radius to like the bend that goes down. So
Oh no, then it wasn't
Yeah.
that. I did see an absolutely destroyed rig today that I went, wow, that guy really does not care about his body work in the
Dude,
least.
just the perspective of it, like
Oh, I know the one
29
you're talking
cars.
about. That was the first time we drove by the Hammertown vendor area, and it was a white Toyota bed pickup, and it was
Yeah.
so smashed it was sagged off and everything. Right?
Blasted.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
The one bedside was like 8 inches lower than
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one.
yeah. Then the other side, yeah, it was pretty beat. It was pretty beat.
The other thing too that was kind of funny, that was kind of just an offshoot of what we were doing, is we found the sand hill.
The sand hill was fun,
It was
dude.
actually a lot of fun.
It
it
was
was
a
fun to
big
watch
dune.
people too.
It was like
Yeah.
it was just blow sands only here.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do
It was
you do
great.
when you go to a giant sand pile? I'm going to make it to the top.
You go up it,
Yep.
dude.
You go up it.
So yeah, we saw some old OBS F350
Dually.
Dually, yeah.
dually. Well, there was one that was not a dually, quad cab, long bed, 7.3, racing up this thing. You know, cruising.
Black smoke just bellowing from the exhaust.
And his buddy in the dually with a smudge pot in the back.
The bed's
Awesome.
like rattling off. Like it was cool. He didn't make it, but it was fun.
Just spooling turbos and just absolutely roosting sand.
And the Jeep and the 4Runner drove right to the top.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
And definitely like most getting it award goes to dude in the OBS Chevy.
Yeah, he had like an old K5 Blazer.
Just who wouldn't
Or
give
K5
up.
truck.
He didn't get to the top of it once. He did it like 7 times though, and every
Seven's
time
an understatement, dude. He did that thing a dozen times at least.
just coming in hotter and hotter each time. You could tell he's just in his truck and he's rubbing the dash, going, "All right, baby, this time.
The time.
This time we're gonna make it. All
The
right."
best part, there's like he has his 2 kids that were probably, I don't know, like 10 or 13.
No,
you know, that
no,
are-
like 5 and 8.
yeah, maybe a little bit younger than that even. And they're sitting in the passenger in the middle seat because it's obviously a bench, like single cab.
Hold
And-
on,
around.
Cletus.
And he's sitting there
Yeah.
like giving the car a pep talk, and the kid's like, "Dad, are you okay?" Like,
Dude, those
are we
kids
sure?"
were smiling ear
Oh,
to ear.
Oh,
yeah.
they
man.
loved it. That's probably
he
why
was-
he
you
did
know,
it so many
65
times.
mile an hour start. He was way.
Yeah, he was like, his solution to getting to the top wasn't, look, I'm going to go ahead and air down my tires. And it was, I'm going to back up further.
He was
And get
he
a
was
bigger
full
run
he
at
was
this.
full of 40 psi and just ready to run it.
Oh,
He,
yeah.
he was getting to the bottom of the hill at the end, and he was doing 60 by the time he just got to the bottom of the hill and then trying to race up it.
It was great. I loved
He's
it.
about halfway up, bury it.
The other funny part too is that the first time he did it, that thing sounded really good, like it was on it, you know. And by the last time he was doing it, the thing was bogging out. Like I feel like one of the spark plugs pulled out completely, you know. It was
was
just
cool,
missing
though.
a little
Then
bit.
the guy in the white YJ shows up with like
oh
yeah.
my
a freaking
god!
Oh,
ripper Chevy 350 in it, and he's going up the steep part where there's no tire tracks at all, and he's just fishtailing all the way up, just having a good time.
Yeah.
Like
that guy
you know,
was straight.
Junior guy.
I think that guy was Saudi Arabian.
Oh my God,
He
they
had-
get it.
He
dude.
had
They
a
I
little.
was
hint
waiting
of
for him to
Saudi
jump
in him.
out and have pajamas on. I was for sure waiting for that.
I was like, he was an oil chic for sure
Oh.
because he drove like one just rev limiter going sideways up a sandy dune. Brah, 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 brah.
Yeah.
You're like,
And that thing was rolling
Get
too.
it,
Like there
buddy.
was so much body roll. So
There
you're
was
like,
so
oh God,
many-
he's
yeah.
fishtailing. Oh, he's gonna roll. Oh, no, he's
So
back the
many
other way.
times we thought he was gonna flip, and he just kept on the throttle and just kept pinning it to win it.
Ride it around.
yeah.
That was cool.
King of the Hammer's good time.
It was really
King
good
of
time.
Hammers was good, man. We had a good time. I'm
Yeah.
stoked. Can't wait to come next year. But I think I'm going to come next year and plan on just staying deep, stay longer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay till Sunday or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, just go experience the course afterwards, like the desert sections behind the mountains.
Yeah,
you know,
we never
check it
made it
out.
to like Desert 2 checkpoint where we could have, because it would have taken us an hour to get out there.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But it's a cool.
See those
course,
guys
man.
go by at speed,
Yeah.
See
I don't know.
that.
It was a
Sounds
good time regardless, just cruising around all the places and you see everybody else's rig and it just gets you all amped up because there's just so much diversity.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
year
You know?
I'm gonna bring the Explorer down Chocolate Thunder. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be sick.
It's going to be sick.
It's gonna be, dude. It's gonna be sick.
It's going to come down it, man, end over end. Ba-boom, ba-boom,
It's gonna be
ba-boom.
dope.
It's gonna turn to that FJ.
Break it, build it, bro.
Beef.
Oh,
Beef. Thanks, guys.
yeah.
We don't know what beef means, by the way.
We have no idea. It's on a lot of trucks, so we just say it now.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Lifted for life? No.
Lifted for life.
Lifted for life. Oh my gosh! Sorry, we have to tell this story.
All right.
The guy who got stuck last night in his truck.
Oh yeah.
He
And
was trying to bail.
dude, they were so great. They were just packing up. They were getting out of the way. And this guy had 20-inch rims with some
22s.
22s probably with what are on a big diesel truck relatively rubber bands. And you're like, he was just digging himself in the
And he had
hole.
a trailer, mind you. Had a trailer
Yeah, had the
with
trailer and all of
like
it.
a razor in it.
24-foot weekend warrior.
Yeah. And we go and we offer to pull him out. We pull him out, and his buddy's like, they were speaking Spanish the whole time. His buddy, this is the only thing I heard in English probably was, "Man, that's why you don't put 20-inch rims on your rig, Holmes." So good.
Yeah, that was rad.
It was so rad.
Yeah, he buried that thing.
So yeah, recommendation, mine, King of the Hammers. As far as an event to go to, I'm gonna say 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, man.
I would, 8.5. 8.5 for sure.
And I'm gonna put, let's like in perspective, I'll put like Tierra del Sol probably like a 7.
Yeah, Tierra del Sol is pretty rad. It's a little smaller, obviously.
But there's still a lot of cool rigs out there too. Just a little bit less like desert rigs. There's a lot more, but like the toys and what is it? San Diego Toys,
Yeah, Beach and Toys.
Beach and Toys. You got the San Diego Bronco Club. Like all these clubs come out, and you just
Yeah.
see like 30 like first gen Broncos cruising through, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend people go to the Hammers.
Mm-hmm.
You got to experience it, right? At least once. If
Yeah.
you're in the off-road world at all, you got to go.
Do it.
If you're listening to this podcast at all, you're probably going to go too.
Yeah. So all three of you should go. Who are
Yes.
listening. Please.
Mom, let's go next year.
Brother? No, he's probably not listening either.
No, he doesn't love you.
Got him.
All right, we'll get you next week from back at the shop. Get you caught up on what we're doing.
Oh yeah. What are we doing?
I don't know, man.
I've got a
We
transmission
got to do
to
something
pull.
because I got to make some money.
Later.
Word.
That was pretty good. That was really good.
An hour? Yeah, 53 minutes.
This has been the Bent Motorsports Podcast. Thanks for listening in. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Bent Motorsports. Stay updated on the latest happenings, future projects, videos, events here at the shop. Remember, guys, at Bent Motorsports, bids in stock, we've got it.